Welcome. Today we're going to talk about how adolescent drinking persistently impacts adult neurobiology and behavior. Underage drinking causes brain damage that can cause changes in the brain that last into adulthood. I was shocked when I first read about this. Most drinkers think that when you drink alcohol and stop, that their brains return back to normal, that there is no permanent brain injury. This is simply not true. Another fallacy is that you have to drink lots of alcohol over long periods of time to cause brain damage. This is also not true. In a later presentation, I will be presenting scientific papers that show that the threshold of drinking required to cause brain damage is a lot less than anyone could imagine. Adolescence is an important period of life when a lot of things are happening. Teenagers are not little adults. They are completely unique. When I was a teenager, no one ever told me about what was going on inside me. It was an unfolding mystery. It is a developmental period where the following and many other things are going on. Physical skills are optimized. The example that came to my mind was when I was coaching youth soccer, how fast these young men were developing. Thinking is optimized. Social skills and learning are consolidated. Sexuality is budding. We all remember that. Hormones are changing. The brain is evolving massively, maturing into an adult brain. The changes that are occurring are legion. An entire book could probably be required to catalog them. Adolescents respond differently to alcohol than adults. Their brain is less sensitive to the sedation effects of alcohol. Their brain is less sensitive to the motor impairment that adults find incapacitating. Because of these facts, they are capable of drinking up to 3 times as much alcohol as an adult. This probably explains why Jack London, in his brilliant drinking autobiography titled John Barleycorn, Alcoholic Memoirs, repeatedly described drinking adult after adult under the table. He also described a very common manner of adolescent drinking called binge drinking, also called adolescent intermittent ethanol. Due to these combined facts, alcohol is more likely to cause blackouts and very aberrant behavior in adolescents. Adolescents are more likely to engage in dangerous drinking. They also lack insight into how much they have drunk and how intoxicated they are. The earlier that a person starts to drink alcohol, the higher the chances are that they will become alcoholics, engage in violence, and suffer injuries. There are several parts of the brain that are developing, and alcohol impacts much more in adolescence. There are many synapses, connections between different cells that are being modeled. Alcohol changes how this vital process progresses, and this can cause permanent problems. The connection between cells is through axons. These are projections from every neuron. These axons are coated with myelin, a coating on the outside of the axons that prevents axons from talking to each other. That's called crosstalk. And the myelination also increases the speed with which the electrical signals are conducted. The process where the axons are coated is called myelinization. This is performed by glial cells. Alcohol damages the myelinization process by damaging the glial cells. This is what leads to white matter damage or demyelinization. There are neural circuits that are being formed in adolescence that can be damaged both because of the synaptic changes and the demyelinization. Injury to the adolescent brain from alcohol results in continued impulsivity, aggression, and continued thrill-seeking. These features are characteristics of teenagers, especially young men. And most people who become adults, they do so because of brain changes in their synapses, cell populations, myelinization, and development of certain neural circuits. Parts of the brain that are especially important include the prefrontal cortex and the limbic brain. These parts of the brain can be significantly and persistently impaired. Studies by a big group of scientists called the Neurobiology of Adolescent Drinking and Adulthood Consortium, not so easy to say, has shown scientifically that adolescent intermittent ethanol causes the following: increased adult drinking, disinhibition, where you can't control yourself so well, social anxiety, altered adult synapses, altered cognition, the thinking, altered sleep, reduced adult neurogenesis. The adult brain is able to form new cells. This is called neurogenesis, but drinking in adolescence can damage this ability. Reduced cholinergic neurons. There's a certain type of neurons that use cholinergic neurotransmitters. Reduced serotonergic neurons. This is involved in depression. And increased neuroimmunity through alterations in both the genetics and epigenetics. Wow, that's a lot of stuff. Those findings are not hypothetical. They are proven scientific facts. I doubt many people are aware of them. To me, they are very important, as some episodes of drinking, adolescent intermittent drinking, ethanol, impact the rest of their lives negatively, and these changes continue into adulthood. Here are more frightening things that binge drinking in adolescence can cause: persistence of adolescent-like synaptic physiology, persistent adolescent behavior. I've heard many people say, I stopped developing when I was a teenager and I never grew up until I stopped drinking. Persistent decreased sensitivity to alcohol, and many other changes. The findings of multiple studies in humans and rats support the theory that adolescent binge drinking causes changes in the brain that last into adulthood. These changes increase the risk of adult psychopathology, especially the risk of becoming an alcoholic. Of course, there are other factors involved in the development of the brain into an adult brain, and these include nutrition, environmental factors, evolving gene expression, trauma, other drugs, and illnesses that impact how the brain changes from adolescence to adulthood. To review that, during adolescence, the following things occur: physical abilities improve, self-control develops, socializations emerge and mature, less reduced risk-taking and sensation-seeking, aggressiveness lessens. Our conclusion is that adolescent binge drinking produces long-lasting effects in the brain that last into adulthood. These changes increase the risk for the development of psychopathology in adults, including alcoholism. Psychopathology is a fancy word for mental and emotional problems. These findings and many others are found in the article right here. Its title is Adolescents, Alcohol Exposure Persistently Impacts Adult Neurobiology and Behavior. This was published in Pharmacological Review in October of 2016. There are 4 authors, with the lead author being Fulton Crews. The authors are all from North Carolina. The article is 36 pages long and has 1 table and 8 figures. There are an amazing 360 scientific references. This is an amazing article full of massive amounts of information. This is an open access article and is easy to obtain on the internet. I myself have spent hours and hours of my time studying this article. I am amazed at how powerful the drug alcohol is in human life. Alcohol has no proven benefits, and now studies are showing drinking alcohol in adolescence can cause increases in adult psychological problems by many ways. It causes changes in the DNA, in the way that DNA is read, called epigenetics. The take-home message, in my opinion, is to abstain from alcohol and live a healthy lifestyle. I also think that we need to figure out some way to get this message out to children and teenagers so that they are aware of the dangers that they are facing and to choose to remain off of alcohol. The changes that alcohol induces in the young brains do not repair and return back to normal. I know from personal experience that this is true. Thank you for listening to the show today on the Alcohol Free channel. I ask you to subscribe, give a thumbs up review, and comment on the content. New videos are planned on a regular basis where we talk about the importance of living an optimally healthy life by being alcohol free. Thank you for listening.